morning. It's Tuesday, December 16th, 2014. This is your morning edition on i24 News. Turkey's President Erdogan claimed yesterday that a recent crackdown on media outlets was, to quote him, a necessary response to dirty operations by political enemies. On Sunday, Turkish police detained 24 people, including top executives of major news outlets, Today's Zaman and Samanyolu television network, both of which were seen as supportive of Fethullah Gulen, a former Erdogan ally now in exile in the United States, as he was perceived as a vocal critic who threatens the president's grip on power. Now, Gulen supporters held protests in Istanbul, waving flags and copies of the popular daily broadsheet. We are joined in studio by Turkey analyst at the Moshe Dayan Center in Tel-Aviv University, Hay Eytan Cohen, last name?
Yanarocak.
Yanarocak, thank you. I didn't want to butcher it.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for being with us. Good morning.
Thank you for the
Before we
invitation.
break it down, let's take a look at the following report about what's going on in Turkey and break it down from there.
Turkish police raided media outlets on Sunday and detained 23 people nationwide in a government-led effort to stop so-called conspirators against the president. Journalists, television producers, and police were among those detained, all of whom are considered detractors of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The chief of one of the targeted media groups called the arrests a threat to democracy in Turkey.
This is a disgrace for Turkey, and this is not a convenient picture for Turkey. In 21st century Turkey, a media group that has dozens of TV channels, radios, websites, and magazines is being exposed to such a treatment.
Protesters denouncing the government's actions quickly gathered outside the offices of Today's Zaman, a leading paper often critical of Erdogan, to denounce the arrests, chanting, "Free speech cannot be silenced." The public pushback gained steam after Erdogan had pushed through legislation boosting government control of the judiciary, most recently a law restructuring two top courts.
We are an international media outlet. We are broadcasting in foreign countries as well, and these scenes will be marked as a disgrace in history.
The criticism of Erdogan and his Justice and Development Party, or AKP, by local media prompted the attempt to suppress the voices of his opponents. Critics have recently accused Erdogan of reviving his Islamist roots, claiming the president is displaying authoritarian tendencies.
Also joined on the phone by Turkish freelance journalist Arzu Geybula. Arzu, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Actually, we're joined by via Skype. Arzu, real quickly, when it comes to these arrests, reactions in Turkey, first of all, about this clampdown, what seems to be, in free press.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the reaction has been tremendous, especially among other publications. For them, for us, it's not about who or for whom Zaman or Samanyolu is working for or has partnerships with. It's really about crackdown on freedom of speech and on what journalists can do, what they can write, and for whom. This is obviously a crackdown on these publications because of their connections, but also because Erdogan is not happy, as these were the most foremost publications that were publicizing the corruption scandal from last year.
Stick with us. Hi, Turkey analyst of the Moshe Dayan Center. What's fascinating to me about this is that, Erdogan is doing these fascist moves, I have no other way of calling them, and yet gains a lot more. I mean, he is very much supported in Turkey. Yeah. Right?
Definitely. What
is behind, the support for Erdogan?
Basically, the real support behind Erdogan is derived from the fact that the Turkish people's standard of living is rising day by day. Right. Erdogan just came after 2002, and before his government, the government of Ecevit, had a really serious economic crisis. And after this crisis, he came and he just adopted the policies of the former World Bank officer Kemal Dervish. Right. And he adopted these terms, and then the economy began to be rehabilitated. And as a result, the Turkish economy is now standing on really strong roots.
No, and as we know, when people have food to eat and they have money, then people are happy. Arzu, I'm wondering with you, when it comes to Gulen, who seems to be always being raised as the potential replacement for Erdogan, that's not something that's in the cards, correct? If Erdogan has what seems to be a base of support within the country when he does moves such as closing and clamping down on media.
No, Gulen never had an intention of coming to power. I mean, yes, he was building a strong base, and for a while there were rumors that Gulen will come to power and replace Erdogan. But first, for that to happen, he had to move to Turkey, and he had no intentions. And given this dynamic, Erdogan sensed perhaps that Gulen was gaining too much stronghold in Turkey by sending in or having some of the followers from his Hizmet movement in many important positions. Erdogan decided to begin the crackdown against Hizmet movement supporters and Gulen supporters in Turkey.
And Gulen supporters in Turkey. And, you know, Hay, I'm wondering with you, because we've heard Erdogan yesterday say that warned the European Union not to meddle with them with Turkey affairs. I mean, he's waving his finger at world powers. I mean, has he given also on being part of the EU completely, I'm assuming?
Actually, I just wanted to tell you something. He used the EU just for one reason, in order to weaken the Turkish army. He just passed all the laws and all the amendments, and thanks to these reforms, he just pacifies the Turkish army. And with the Ergenekon probe, maybe you heard about this probe, many military officials were imprisoned.
Right.
And after defeating them, basically, he doesn't need the EU. And it's not a secret that in Turkey, the EU is considered as a Christian club. And they have sincerely, they sincerely do not believe that they are going to be part of the European Union, even if they want it so much to be part of it.
So I mean, that's something that's...
So, in my opinion, Turkey is trying to be trying to approach to Russia, because at the same time, as you know, because of the sanctions from the West, Russia is also isolated. So, just a few days ago, President Vladimir Putin just paid a visit in Istanbul, and there he declared that they are going to launch a joint pipeline project, which is putting Turkey on the map, because he just changed the route of the pipelines.
And the pipelines. And not only that, I think Putin and Erdogan seem to have a mutual language in many ways. Arzu, also, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And when we get back, something completely different. Sony asks the media not to publish leaked emails, as Ruthie Sinai mentioned, as hackers threaten Christmas gifts of new exposures. A story that is completely putting Hollywood up at arms. First, though, let's hear some more of the morning headlines.